Welcome back to Let's Play Neverwinter Nights 2, Mask of the Betrayer. This is Big Los, and off camera, we walked all the way down from where the Veiled Theater was, all the way up to the Death God's Vault. Now we're going to go inside, and we are going to head towards the Haunted Furnace. So let's go on this way, and then we got to hang a right at this little T intersection. Now, it doesn't look like those mummified priests respawn at all. In fact, I don't think any of the monsters in here respawn on their own. No, you have to rest and then maybe take a chance that they will attack you, but sometimes if you're trying to get undead monsters to attack you in here and you rest, you get your full 8 hours, even if it says it's really dangerous. Okay, so here's the priest. So let's talk to him. The priest spirit still refuses to speak to you, so let's do number 1, intimidate. Priest, you refuse to speak to me, so I will devour you. Failure. The priest spirit just glares at you, obviously disbelieving your claims. So let's do number 2, probe the furnace with your powers, instead of devouring him. You sense a great many spirits within the furnace. Murderers, rapists, petty thieves, and even some innocents. All cremated in the furnace and cursed to remain bound to it. Wait, what are you doing? I can feel the power you possess. What are you? Let's do number 2. I'm the victim of a terrible curse. A spirit eater. A spirit eater? I have a vague recollection. When I was still living, I was Merkel's high priest. The god always mistrusted me, because my predecessor Akachi. What did Akachi do? He betrayed Merkel, and he was punished. I was chosen to replace him as high priest because I was the most removed from his association. How was Akachi punished? I do not remember the punishment, only that Merkel was proud of it, which means it must have been grave indeed. Okay, who was cremated here? Besides myself, all of the criminals of the faith that we kept on the lower level were cremated here after they died in their cells. So only the spirits of criminals are contained in the furnace? Most are criminals, but occasionally an innocent will be. I cannot bear to think of it further. The child is one such innocent. How do you know the child is innocent? Because he told me so, and I believe him. He was wrongly accused of mutilating his family and then burning down a temple of Merkel. No child is capable of such an act. Children do not have the capacity for evil. Then you must not have had any children of your own. Oh, but I did. A son. He was murdered, along with my wife, by one of the criminals within the furnace. I executed that monster's cremation myself. Only I didn't wait until he died in his cell. Are you talking about the brute? Do not mention him to me. Of all the dark souls within this furnace, he most deserved his fate. What must I answer before you will leave us in peace? Who was the child spirit you were speaking to before? The child is one of the dominant spirits that haunt the furnace with me. When I still lived, the child appeared to me often as one who speaks for the many. Now I am the one. What is one? The many. The many are the thousands of souls of those cremated in Merkel's furnace. One is the dominant spirit that speaks for the many. It seemed like the child commands you. My relationship to the child is that of a father to his full-grown son. The child yields to me out of respect, and the others of the many, they listen to the child. I want to speak to the child. No, by my command, neither the child nor any of the others may speak with you. I am one, and I speak for the many. Alright, let's try to intimidate. If I devoured you, would I then be able to speak to the child? Failure. Your threats do not sway me. If I give in to your wishes, a worse fate than oblivion awaits me. What fate? The other spirits in the furnace, many of them were sent there by me when I lived. After my sacrifice, the child protected me from the many by making me one. What was your sacrifice? Soon after my god Merkel was slain by Mystra, followers of Cyric assaulted this vault. We barely were able to seal the lower levels before they burst through the entrance. Cyric's raiders slew everyone but me. I was tortured for days that they might learn how to open the gate to the lower vault and plunder Merkel's most precious treasures. I did not relent, so eventually they cast me into the furnace to suffer the same fate as the many I'd sentenced here myself. You must have suffered greatly. I'm sorry. Oh yes, I've suffered. Of the memories that are left to me, only the most painful remain clear. But I like to think it was not in vain. Were it not for my actions and my rather painful sacrifice, Cyric's followers would have gotten through the gate to the lower level and completely desecrated Merkel's vault. Your sacrifice is not in vain. The lower level remains sealed. That is good to hear. I have endured such torment, both prior to death and after. Though I may never be released from this furnace, I can endure it easier knowing my sacrifice meant something. Sympathizing with this tormented spirit has somewhat diminished your hunger and the desire to devour him. This only happens if you're good. It suddenly occurs to you that it may be within your power to grant rest to the soul rather than consuming him. So we have the option of releasing him, or we have other questions which we're going to ask. What must I answer before you will leave us in peace? How do you open the gate to the lower level? I endured torture and a most painful death to keep that secret. I will never reveal it to you. What lies in the lower level of the vault? What does it matter to you? You shall never see them. I shall not bait you with a desire to see those lower levels for yourself. Consider yourself fortunate that the way is barred to you. A curious soul such as yourself would be walking into certain doom. I have other questions. What must I answer before you will leave us in peace? Tell me about the brute. I will speak no more of him. What must I answer before you will leave us in peace? Okay. I think we got one left. What is this place? As if we didn't know already. This is the crematorium of Merkel's vault. The furnace I stand before is my home, and the home of thousands of others who were cremated here. So we can ask some questions that we already did, or we can release him. Priest, I can release you from your suffering and grant you rest, if you desire it. Truly, eternal rest seems an impossible dream for the damned servant of a dead god. But if it is within your power, then I beg of you, grant me rest. Okay, so we can do eternal rest. Lost soul, be at peace. Thank you. And that gives us 3 points towards the good, and we get a brilliant spirit essence for that. In reaction to what you've done to the priest spirit, several ghosts materialize all around you. Release me! I suffer too! Grant me rest! No, grant me rest!
Child, come now. The many flocks into the flesh receptacle who exercise the priest.
I am here, and I see.
We must slay it now before it disperses the many, before we meet the same fate as the priest.
Well, it doesn't sound too bad. Wait, I will parley with you. The spirits here cry out for release. You have great power, and therefore command the respect of the many. We can help each other. You wish passage through the gate to the lower level of this vault, and we crave to be free of this furnace we are bound to. Why can I see you but others cannot? You are compatible with the many, so you can see me even when we haven't manifested. So you will give me the key to the gate if I release you? The key to the lower vault is within this furnace, hidden by the priests long ago. However, it cannot be retrieved until the spirits that haunt it are freed. How can I free the spirits? The many is complacent and comfortable. Though some wish release, others huddle within the furnace, refusing to come out for any reason. Under the threat of destruction, these spirits will be forced to flee the furnace. And when all have left, the many will be free and separate once more. Okay, so we can use our provoke spirits feat to force them all to leave. As undead spirits, we can devour them, which will send our craving to 100%, which is bad, and we could do eternal rest, exercise the entire furnace. And we're going to do that. You channel your power towards all the nearby spirits and those in the furnace. And we get 2,000 XP for that. You should not have done that. You destroyed the weaker spirits, but the stronger ones remain, and we will rebuild the many, starting with you. Alright, that doesn't sound good at all. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn party AI off. And the reason for that is because I don't want the rest of my party to engage in battle with these undead called Shadows of the Void when it's not in my control. I'm going to use the Eternal Rest feat on them. You know what, let's move Sophia up here. She's taking a lot of damage. And we'll have Gann do heal on her. I'm going to do Eternal Rest on each of these spirits. And every time that you do a Devour Spirit or a Eternal Rest on these particular Shadows of the Void, not others, you will get the Shadow of the Void essence. And there's a possibility that you can get 2 of them out of here. The maximum you can get. And that's what we want. And let's put the Eternal Rest feat that we just got into our first page of quick keys. It works just like Devour Spirit. You gotta get the hit points of the undead that you're facing below 25%, so when it says near death, when you hover your cursor above it, and then you can fill up your spirit energy just like Devour Spirit, but it does not increase your craving, so that's probably one of the best ways to manage this Spirit Eater curse. Unfortunately, you can only do this if you're good aligned.
Of course.
Up to this point, that is. If you're evil, then you don't get the feat. They just think that you're being disingenuous. Alright, so I guess I will have the rest of my party just shoot arrows at the Shadow of the Void.
Have my eye.
This one on the left. And then if we do an Eternal Rest, we have that standard 5-minute cooldown period. And then I'll just run around and not defeat the other one. I'll wait for the cooldown period to expire. Kind of like a power play in hockey. And if I have to wait the full 5 minutes, which is looking likely, then I'll just cut that part of the video out and do a smooth transition. And this is kind of taking a long time. So let's cast this Sunburst. Do damage to these guys, and then we can initiate the Eternal Rest on one of them. Looks like one of them was blinded. That's why he's not attacking. I guess you can blind undead. Okay. Let's do another Sunburst. Oh, that did some damage. Alright.
To your weapons.
Over 70 points of damage. Let's pull Kaylin back because she's under attack. Okay, that was near death, so let's use this Eternal Rest now. Okay, so we got 2 points to the good, and we'll get that every time we use that feat, and we got the Shadow of the Void's essence. And we want to get the other one now. So now let's get this other one's hit points down.
Enemies have fallen upon us.
And then after the 5-minute cooldown period, we'll be able to use it. So let's pull all the rest of the party members back. And we got almost 1200 XP.
Oh, I don't know any profanity. How embarrassing.
Come again, Kaylin? Let's grab these remains, these essences, and then we will take down this Shadow of the Void's hit points all the way down to less than 25% of its maximum until it says near death. Wait a minute, I'm looking at the quick keys and it's saying that there's no cooldown right now? That must be a bug. I'm sure it's still counting down right now. Okay, it's near death. Well, you know what? Let's try it. Is it gonna let us do it without the cooldown period? It did, and we did get another Shadow of the Void essence and another 1200 XP. So that must have been a bug, where we didn't have to do the cooldown period. So if we look at these things, this essence obtained from a Shadow of the Void swirls and glows with an intense blue light. You think you could mold it into any weapon or armor. And yes, it will give you a lot of cold damage to a weapon and a lot of resistance to cold, but it'll make you vulnerable to fire. And if you enchant armor with it, it'll give you immunity to cold, but vulnerability to fire. Alright, let's grab these essences. We'll give them to Sophia.
All who can hear, follow.
I'm surprised that we didn't have to do that cooldown period. Oh, well, I guess there are some beneficial bugs. The fires have gone out in the furnace, and the ashes here are strangely cool to the touch. So let's sift through the ashes. You grope blindly through the thick soot, and finally grasp the handle of a weapon that feels hauntingly familiar. It is a replica of the silver Sword of Gith. This may be the key that is needed to open the gate to the lower levels. Okay, so we got this silver Sword of Gith in our inventory now. So let's make our way over to the room with that door that we couldn't open. And we're going to leave the urns alone for now, just in case... No, we didn't mean to do that. We're going to leave the urns alone until we really need to bump up our spirit energy. And that'll happen later. Alright. Let's try to unlock this. The door is black and etched with curving runes. Its keyhole is nothing more than a vertical opening. Let's leave the door alone, because I want to look at this thing. Silver Sword of Gith. This weapon has the distinct look of the Silver Sword of Gith, but lacks any magical properties. It appears to be just a replica, and we can't even equip it. It's not a real sword. So let's try to unlock this again. The door is black and etched with curving runes. Its keyhole is nothing more than a vertical opening, more suited to the smooth metal blade than any ordinary key. So let's insert the replica Sword of Gith into the keyhole. The blade clicks into place, turns, and suddenly drawn inward, vanishing into the shadowy substance of the door. The gate swings open. And we get 4,000 XP for that, and we lose the Silver Sword of Gith. So let's go in here, we'll go to the lower levels. See what we can find. What treasures await. Here we are. Okay, this is like a foyer with doors to the north, east, and west. And the western door is locked. The eastern door is open. And the northern door is locked as well. So it's a good thing that we got rogue levels, because we're going to have to pick those. Now, you can have Kaji pick them if you have Kaji, but we don't need to because we have rogue levels for that. Now, these offering urns, they have a lot of treasure in them, but every time that you loot one, a Shadow of the Void comes out. And we could totally level up in this room by fighting all these Shadows of the Void, because we get about 1200 XP for each one that we defeat. So, I'm going to turn party AI off right now. And we're going to just attack this thing. And this is how you go about killing all of these things and using Eternal Rest with the 5-minute cooldown. But you know what? We don't have the 5-minute cooldown because of some bug that's going on right now. Ouch. These things cast Cone of Cold at you. I think that's what it is. That's what it looks like. And I think they only have, like, so many uses per day, like 4 or 5, I think. Maybe 3, I didn't count. Since they're undead, they always have this 50% miss chance, which is kind of annoying. And they don't have ghost touch weapons in this game. That's kind of annoying as well. I think the only way that you can get ghost touch is to take the prestige class Doom Guide, and at one of the levels that you take, the weapon that you wield suddenly becomes Ghost Touch, which negates the 50% miss chance for these types of undead. It's just annoying more than anything else. It just makes them that much harder to hit. Kind of draws out these battles for longer than they normally would take. And when they don't cast the Cone of Cold when they're out of uses, they really don't do as much damage as they normally do. I think the only way that guy can hit me is if he rolls a 20. Let's have everybody just shoot their crossbow bolts and their arrows at it. Get it down to less than 25% of its max HP, so we can use the Eternal Rest. Another good thing about these Shadows of the Void is when you consume their spirits, each one will give you a brilliant spirit essence, which you normally would have to devour 8 lesser undeads, because you get a volatile spirit essence instead, and then you can mold that into a brilliant spirit essence. So, definitely an advantage to consuming these guys. It's like getting 8 undead spirit essences for the price of fighting 1. So, we're just going to fight one of these guys for this episode, and we're going to leave the rest alone. I might fight the rest of them off camera. I haven't decided yet. Because it does take a while. Okay, looks like he's near death, so we can use the Eternal Rest feat. So, let's do it. We get 2 points towards the good. We get a Brilliant Spirit Essence, so we get nearly 1200 XP, which is very good. That means we can level up in this room if we fought all of them. And we'll get all of these. And we'll give them to Sophia. And then we will explore the rest of the lower levels in the next episode. What treasures will we find? And what enemies will we face? Find out next time. This is Big Los signing off. See you next time. Thanks for watching, and Tenga un buen dia.